Thank you, David. 4 days after one of the more shocking Labor Day Monday results, it's the Labor Day replay to break a first-place tie in the West between the Stampeders and Eskimos. Late summer in full glory here in northern Alberta. A warm 29 degrees, beautiful for the over 40,000 on hand. Maybe a little tougher for the guys playing their second game in 4 nights.
Edmonton has beat the Calgary Stampeders twice this year and will get Fred Stamps back in the lineup for this one tonight. Missed 3 games, including the Labor Day matchup. Still leads the team in receiving with over 600 yards. Henry Burris looking for a bounce-back game from a week ago. Just 132 yards passing, was frustrated, and is looking to bounce back from that one.
Well, the coach couldn't hide his disappointment after the game, but his team's been great on the road, and as you can see, very good after a loss. On the other sideline, Kavis Reed tried to orchestrate the first Labor Day week sweep since 2004 for Edmonton, and the first full sweep by Edmonton over Calgary in a season series since 2002.
And that year, the Edmonton Eskimos won the championship.
Here we go. Underway with the replay, and it's John Cornish. Tripped up as he crossed the 25-yard line. And a story last Monday for the Stampeders' poor field position. Their average start was the 25.
And turnovers, and that's the one thing as Henry Burris walks to the huddle with his finger in the air that he wants to eliminate. The 4 turnovers that turned into 24 points for the Edmonton Eskimos. Offense has to be better protecting the football than they were on Labor Day.
Just 132 yards passing on Monday. First down, and Henry Burris going to run himself, and he's got a first down, and this is something the Eskimos were anticipating, maybe a little bit more of Burris using his legs today.
You know, he has run the ball this year. In fact, he tied with Darian Durant for the most rushing yards at this point by a quarterback, but it doesn't seem like he does it to attack defenses this year. It's more out of desperation, but you can tell he wants to take this game, put it on his shoulders. First play offensively, he takes off and attacks the defense with his legs.
13-yard pickup for Burris. Calgary has a first down at their 38. And over the middle, cutting it complete on the money. Kenyon Rambo taken down by the safety, Donovan Alexander.
This is the guy that Henry Burris can really get going with here. Kenyon Rambo with just 1 catch last week on Labor Day, and need to get him the football earlier to get him in that groove. Nice dig route here to start things off, and the ball right on the money. You could see that Henry Burris focused out of the gate here.
Season lows for Burris passing, Rambo and Lewis receiving on Monday. But that's a 19-yard pickup, back-to-back first downs, play action fake to Reynolds. And there's Nick Lewis with his hands in the ball. And this drive starting to look a little like the only successful drive on Monday for the Stamps when they drove 99 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, that drive was 8 plays, 99 yards, using 6 different receivers, and it was really an example of what the Calgary Stampeders looked like through their 5-game winning streak. Main receiver involved, of course, always Nick Lewis in that starting offense.
Lewis with his 50th catch of the season last week and his 50th career touchdown. First down, Larry Taylor in the backfield, and the multi-purpose weapon for the Stamps straight ahead to the 36.
A good conversation yesterday with Henry Burris about the frustration he had, how things were going on Monday, and he said that, you know, his focus, and he felt real confident about the game plan, and that he wanted to make sure that he got a good start to this game on the road in Edmonton.
5 for Taylor, 2nd and 5, bunch formation to the wide side. Short drop and pressure from Marcus Howard, and Burris brought down short of the first down. And John Hupnagel will get his first decision of the night. Looks like it'll be 3rd and 2.
Right off the edge is Marcus Howard, who played well on Monday and is starting to come on. I mean, Marcus Howard, 4 sacks on the season 3 in the last 4 games.
So Rene Paredes, who did not attempt a field goal last Monday, comes in to attempt a 39-yarder. Canadian Brad Sinopoli, the holder. And it's an opening drive field goal for the Calgary Stampeders to take the lead. So the Stampeders breaking a drought that was over 3 quarters long without points. And there's Fred Stamps back in the Eskimos lineup as Edmonton goes to work for their first possession of the night. And the handoff inside. And Calvin McCarty, the starting tailback, gets about 3.
At 9 for 32, 3.6-yard average on Monday and Labor Day. In that backfield, he'll start and swap time with Jerome Messam back there. And then when you look at the receiving corps, of course, the big announcement, Fred Stamps able to play tonight. 619 yards on the season and leading the team with 5 touchdowns. And there's the offensive line that played on Labor Day.
Did not allow a sack on Labor Day after 18 in the previous 3 games. Pressure here, 2nd and 7 up top. Darius Bowman wide open. He got in behind Keon Raymond, and it's a huge gain to the Calgary 15.
What a big game that Darius Bowman had a week ago with 81 yards. He gets started and carries on with that momentum, and a nice seam route here on Keon Raymond. Hits the line, that good waggle towards the line of scrimmage. Look at that swim move. Gets outside and around Keon Raymond, who now is in a chase position. And big play out of the gate for Edmonton.
Biggest play of the year for Bowman, 56 yards.
Blitz coming from the Calgary Stampeders, but Ricky Ray was able to get rid of that football in time.
Now Ricky Ray had only 131 passing yards on Monday. Big chunk right away. Play action fake. Jerome Messam wide open and drops the football. Ricky Ray might have been able to run it in, but as you could see, Messam was wide open and they don't execute.
Jerome Messam just got a little excited. He was so wide open. He's going to work through here and then out, and watch how no one picks him up. There's nothing but grass in front of Jerome Messam. He sees the opening. He starts to get deeper as Ricky Ray rolls to him, and then is so excited about scoring a touchdown there, he doesn't catch the football. Took his eyes off it for a split second.
Well designed play. But now 2nd and 10. Bowman staying in the block. Ray the corner right. He wants Fred Stamps. Incomplete. Brandon Smith in coverage, who wanted another shot at Stamps after getting burned twice back in July.
Yeah, Brandon Smith actually disappointed that Fred Stamps wasn't playing in the game on Labor Day. Nice jam at the line of scrimmage just to slow him down a little bit, and then he can't get to that football. And I agree with Milt Stegall. Fred Stamps, great numbers in the 6 games he played, but he's going to have to ease himself back into this game a little bit.
Well, Derek Schiavone, a big plus on Labor Day as he came in to handle the kicking duties for the first time, and he was perfect. And this from 22 yards out. And the 2 teams open, looking pretty sharp. And both put field goals on the board. CFL on TSN is brought to you by Nissan. A 52-yard drive to open the game for Calgary and a field goal.
One thing that a lot of fans in Calgary have been talking about is how they'd like to see a little bit more of Joffrey Reynolds or John Cornish in this offense. We'll see if that transpires here tonight.
Joffrey 6 carries 13 yards 4 days ago. That's a good start for him as he bulldozes and doesn't want to go down. How about that extra effort for 3 or 4 more? Behind Edwin Harrison, who is in that offensive line for Calgary tonight.
Back from injury, the pectoral muscle, he's back in the O-line, but there is Joffrey Reynolds, maybe trying to tell the coaching staff a little something by that extra effort on that play, that he needs to see the ball a little bit more. There's Nick Lewis, always the leading receiver and overall leader on that Calgary team. And then here's the offensive line with 2 changes. John Gott at center, and as you mentioned, Chris, Edwin Harrison starting at left tackle.
So Tony Washington out of the game, and a sneak by Drew Tate in short yardage. Edwin Harrison, the top rookie with Calgary last year, makes his 2011 debut, and John Gott gets his first start, the Lethbridge product for Tim O'Neill.
3 things the Calgary Stampeders have to fix if they want to have a better result here tonight.
56 had reported. First down.
One is that field position battle you talked about right off the top, Chris. The other is the turnovers that turned into points for the Edmonton Eskimos and protect the football a little better. And the third is penalties. Penalties once again hurt this team on Monday with 14 for well over 100 yards, 130 yards in penalties for Calgary on Monday.
While Edmonton just 62 yards. There's a fake, and that pass up in the air, and it is dropped. Donovan Alexander in and out of his hands. Should have been an easy interception.
It really should have, and it would have been the first for Donovan Alexander. Still looking for his first after 44 games in the CFL. Donovan Alexander has been a very good free safety for Edmonton at halfway point of the season. He's been where he needs to be. He's made good tackles in the open field, but this is something that he is snake bit on. 44 CFL games now and counting, and he's still looking for his first.
Well, you know what they say about safety's hands.
Yeah, you get credit for a knockdown, though. That's how I used to justify it away.
2nd and 10. Monday, Calgary was 0-10 on 2nd and more than 7 yards. Pressure and a flag, and Burris, who was falling, throws incomplete for Nick Lewis. And a couple of penalty flags on the field. Al Bradbury's crew in charge tonight.
Options being given to Edmonton.
Offside. Calgary, number 81. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
That's Jabari Arthur.
That's why the options are given to Edmonton. They decide to decline the penalty and force the Calgary Stampeders to punt.
So the first punt of the game will come off the foot to Burke Dales. Both Dales and Duval over 50-yard average on Labor Day. This is a good one. Armstead will backpedal inside his 10. But he's up across the 20, cut down by John Cornish. 56-yard boot by Dales.
Well, he missed 3 games of the regular season, the last 3, but was on a tear in the first 6 games of the season for the Edmonton Eskimos. 619 yards, and when you look at his receiving yards per game, that still ranks 2nd in the CFL behind Jamel Richardson of the Montreal Alouettes at 103 per game. 5 of his first 6 was over 100 yards to start the season.
Missed 3 games, still 7th in the league in receiving. Jason Barnes still not back in the lineup, also in the top 10. And McCurdy bounced on first contact and trying to get back to the line of scrimmage and makes a little out of what should have been a loss.
Calgary defense that been sort of a lot of changes up front in their front 7. Charleston Hughes been the most consistent player. He had 7 tackles, led the way. One behind Robert McCune, as a matter of fact, a middle linebacker who had 8 on Labor Day. And there is the secondary. Demetrius Morley blitzed a ton from the safety position on Monday.
And Jeff Tisdale is on the corner. He was injured on Monday and didn't practice this week. Some didn't expect him to be here tonight. 2nd and long, and Ray, Justin Phillips, and now Morley in pursuit for Bowman. Does he have it? Ruled incomplete. Greg Fassett was there. Looked like Bowman was going to grab that off his back.
Early in the season, you mentioned Jeff Tisdale. A lot of teams tested Tisdale early. He responded, and then they started to go after Greg Fassett a little bit. Edmonton Eskimos just scrambling now. This is the scramble rules with the Darius Bowman on a shallow intermediate route, having to turn up with Ricky Ray scrambling, but perfect position by Greg Fassett. Tested more, and now it's his turn to respond.
And here's Duvall, his first boot of the night. Taylor takes that at the 36. And a wave downfield and a flag. And we'll find out if that's the face mask. We'll sort it out when we come back. A 15-yard penalty against Edmonton. Unnecessary roughness. Damaso Munoz. Let's check in on the sidelines. Here's Ryan Rashog.
Yeah, Chris, Henry Burris was really under a lot of fire after his performance on Monday. I spoke to him a couple of days ago. He readily admitted that he flat out lost his composure and, in fact, was so disappointed with himself. He took the time throughout the week to individually go up to every member of the offense and apologize for losing his composure the way he did. He told all of them it would not happen again. At the same time, he said, we always seem to have at least one of those games every year. We're hoping that Monday was our one and only, Chris.
Just 203 net yards in that game. Nothing seemed to go right offensively. Here's Cornish out of the backfield. Another first down, and John Cornish still going. And Donovan Alexander finally drag him down inside the 20.
Well, part of the ways that the Calgary Stampeders can help Henry Burris to have a bounce-back game is the play calling from Dave Dickinson, and this is a perfect call. On first down, go the screen. You're getting a lot of pressure from that front four from the Edmonton Eskimos. Drop it off and let John Cornish do the rest. And that kind of play will get that defensive line more aware of the running backs. Dave Dickinson calling a good game so far.
34 yards to Cornish. And now the hitch. Johnny Forzani's got it. Flags fly. As Forzani's taken down about the 12-yard line. Would be a gain of 5.
Holding. Calgary, number 85. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Holding call against Kenyon Rambo.
By the way, the last time that Henry Burris, other than the last game of the season that didn't really matter for Calgary last year, was against the BC Lions, where he threw for under 200 yards, as he did on Labor Day, and that was against BC. He bounced back from that game the next week to play the Montreal Alouettes and threw for 412 yards in that one.
What was amazing about last week's struggles, it came after their best offensive performance of the year against Montreal. Burris dumps it off. There's Cornish again. And John Cornish taken down at the 16 as we set up this Edmonton Eskimos defense, coached by Rich Stubler.
Well, I mentioned Marcus Howard up front, and he's a guy who's got, I should say, 4 sacks in the last 3 games. I think he got that reversed when I first mentioned it. A couple of changes in the linebacking core. Late scratch was TJ Hill. That'll move David Pittman to the linebacking core and facilitates a couple of others changes. Weldon Brown has to go now to halfback. CJ Bailey on the corner. Joaquin Bradley off a little bit early from his hamstring injury. Back on the line.
Excuse me, 8 for Cornish, or 12 for Cornish, second and 8. Burris the corner, and it's short hop to the intended target, Robbie Bryant.
It was a throw similar to that on Monday where he started to show his frustration, and he one-hopped one to Robbie Bryant and said that even though it appeared to be that the frustration was directed towards the crowd, it was not, that he was just frustrated with his throwing motion, and that one, again, just a little bit short. Now, in fairness to Henry Burris there, he had pressure in his face.
So for the second time, they drive into field goal range. There it is from 24 out. And that reestablishes a 3-point lead for Calgary. Well, there was rampant speculation about Burris's on-field gesture. Here's how he explains it.
Yeah, the fans were booing. You know, I made a bad throw, but who do you think I'm being harder on, them or me for throwing a bad ball? Me, of course. And so, you know, if I did it in any of the fans' direction, hey, I apologize for that, but I can't say I won't do it again because, you know, truthfully, I don't know where people are. All I know is that I made a bad throw, get your elbow up.
Well, it did coincide with some disgruntled booing from the fans at McMahon.
Well, and you could tell the entire offense very frustrated.
Right back to work with pressure, gets away, and then Charleston Hughes on the scene, and that forces Ricky Ray to throw it into the turf.
But, you know, I had a good conversation with him because I had mentioned on the air that it looked like he had directed that frustration to the crowd, and he explained that he's done that before. And then, you know, I went back and looked. You know, when he gets frustrated because he's missed a throw short, he throws his arm like he wants to get his arm up in the right throwing motion. So you have to give him the benefit of the doubt, and he's off to a good start moving the football. Now they just have to finish drives.
2nd and 10 for the Eskimos at their 35. And Ray steps up, but he's going to go long. Wants Boucher Rodriguez, and that's knocked down. Jeff Tisdale was there. And it looked like Ricky Ray might have been able to step up that time, but he wanted to go vertical, trying to hook up with his new wideout, Boucher Rodriguez.
Yeah, he did, and when he did, Chris, because he had that great throwing lane, I mean, the seas parted for Ricky Ray to just step up in the pocket when he had that much time and no pressure in front of him. I think he wanted to launch that one. But what coverage, tremendous coverage by Jeff Tisdale. That's his 3rd knockdown on the season. Watch the lane open up in the middle. Steps up, lots of time, no pressure.
Here's Taylor on the return. Eskimos cover teams have been outstanding this year. Corbin Sharun leading the Canadian Football League in special team tackles and leading that green wave downfield once again. Just under 3 minutes remaining here. The Calgary Stampeders 4-0 on the road, and they've won their last 6 away from McMahon going back to last season.
Now, the last time they lost on Labor Day was 2008. Came back in this game in the rematch, won that one, and that started a roll for John Huffnagel's team that led them all the way to a Grey Cup championship.
Out of the gun, they look for Rambo, and he's got it. And it wasn't touched. And got a couple of extra yards. You don't want to fall asleep, and sometimes the alertness might not be there in these back-to-backs that with such little time.
Nice timing out here from Kenyon Rambo to get outside leverage, but you know, the throw again a little bit behind him. We just saw the last out to Romby Bryant bounced just short, and that one again a little bit short, pulling Kenyon Rambo back to the football. Had to go down to get that one.
14 on the play. Stampeder first down, and the draw. Here's Reynolds across midfield. And Joffrey crashes it to the Edmonton 50. Greg Beach, who had such a strong Labor Day Monday game, in on the tackle.
Stanley Bryant starts things out at right tackle here for the Calgary Stampeders. He's going to just sort of let the outside end go and then step up and pick up another block on this draw play. There's that nice block. You get Demetrius Suplis and then Kenyon Rambo downfield as a receiver. Well blocked and executed play.
12 for Reynolds, 1 short of his output 4 days ago. Back into his hands, he'll lose yards this time. Etienne Legaré, part of the vastly improved Edmonton Eskimos front 4.
Is it ever? I mean, Etienne Legaré with 4 sacks on the season. Tied for the team lead with Marcus Howard, who I mentioned is really coming on. Ted Laurent's getting a good push. We saw Greg Peach that can play linebacker and did a little bit on Labor Day, and can also move up to the defensive line, and the impact that he made returning from injury last week.
And Peach, the only returning starter on the defensive line when he is playing on the defensive line. 2nd and 12. The out. And that falls short of Rambo with Joaquin Bradley in the area. And another Calgary drive is stalled.
The Edmonton Eskimos real lucky that Joaquin Bradley was able to come back from injury and hamstring a little bit early, because they were projecting him to return probably next week. But with the last-minute scratch of T.J. Hill, he was put in the lineup, and he looks okay so far.
There's Dales trying to pin the Eskimos, but this one sailing into the end zone. Not what he wanted. And Walton Brown will take a knee and concede the single point, and it's now a 7-3 Calgary lead. "56-yard single, and one play left in the opening quarter. Another low-scoring first quarter for the Eskimos. Just the one big play completion for Ricky Ray, although a costly drop by Jerome Messam. They do put 3 points on the board in the first quarter, the first time they've scored in the opening quarter in their last 4 games. Ray under pressure, he's going to go down, back at the 25, and Charleston Hughes has his 5th sack of the year. And that is the opening quarter of football at Commonwealth. Stampeders with a 7-3 lead. An edge for Calgary on the scoreboard and in the stats after 1 quarter play.
Calgary Stampeders are not finishing their drives at this point. Not a big deal when it's the first quarter, but you don't want it to linger on into the second. They've been on the 32 and the 16 and settled for field goals. And of course, the Edmonton Eskimos had their opportunity in the red zone, and Jerome Messam dropped a sure touchdown. So both teams, like I said, not a big deal in the first quarter, but you don't want it to carry on.
But a lot more consistent Calgary offense in that first quarter, while Edmonton has as many 2-and-outs as they did on Labor Day.
Yeah, and the Edmonton Eskimos, just the one big play in that quarter, but they got to go back to that balance and getting Calvin McCarty and Jerome Messam involved in the run game.
Final play of that first quarter, the sack by Hughes, his 5th of the year, the first for the Stamps in 3 games, just their 11th on the season. And it sets up 2nd and 20. And Ray looks downfield. He's got Bowman. And Bowman taken down by Demetrius Morley and Greg Fawcett, short of the first down.
But will give Edmonton a lot of room to punt the football away. One of the big improvements I've seen from Calgary from last Monday is their pressure on defense. Their front 4, led by Charleston Hughes, is starting to get a little more pressure on Ricky Ray. That one well short of first down territory.
So Duval gets set to kick it to Larry Taylor. Flag down. And where that flag was thrown, does somebody have too many men on the field?
There's no infraction on the play. First down.
Well, upon further review, both teams had 12 on the field.
Quick recount.
And so Calgary will start at their 25-yard line.
But a good kick by Edmonton, and a kick that they're trying to keep the football away from Larry Taylor.
48-yard boot with no return by Duval. Fake to Reynolds, and that ball knocked down. Intended for Robbie Bryant, and in his 2nd game, C.J. Bailey was on the scene defensively.
A lot of man-to-man defense. C.J. Bailey stepping up and in good position on Robbie Bryant, and the Calgary Stampeders continue to work the outs. They're trying to get the football outside leverage now. A lot of times when you're playing a lot of man, the defensive backs are going to line up inside, but Henry Burris got to start getting that ball to the outside shoulder and leading their receiver to the sideline. Those are dangerous passes when they're inside on an out route.
Bailey back in for his second start when T.J. Hill was a late scratch. There's a ball back into the hands of Kenyon Rambo. He'll be close to a first down up around the 35. Rambo, surprisingly, with only 37 yak yards on the year, a guy who is one of the premier receivers in the league, has really not been able to break loose so far in the first half of this season.
Yeah, tough to put your finger on why. I mean, he had just one catch on Labor Day, and that was coming off a big game, his best of the season at 111 yards and 5 catches, but it has not been that Kenyon Rambo type of season just yet. Like the panel talked about in the pregame show, a guy that probably really looking forward to the second half of the CFL season.
Well, you get the close-up look at how far Calgary's away, and a third down upcoming for the Stampeders.
I liked how Dave Randorf talked about that and phrased it. They talked about on the panel how there's the great surprises of the first half, and then instead of saying the guys who struggled in the first half, they went and said the guys who are looking forward to the second half. Maybe underachieved. I think Kenyon Rambo is in that category.
Drew Tate in with the short yardage group for the Stamps. Third and under a yard. He takes it wide and will move the chains.
You know, when you do this a bunch, and Drew Tate does it a bunch, you start to get a real knack for it, and he's one of the best at it. He sees a soft spot right here. That's why he's going to take the ball off the line of scrimmage, which, you know, is a bit of a gamble, but these are all very important plays. He's got a good knack for finding that soft spot.
Got Randy Chevrier out there and some extra blocking and easily making the first down, and it's a big edge in that category for Calgary so far. At the 36, Burris back to pass, and look out, big collision. That's busted up by Joaquin Bradley, intended for Jabari Arthur, and a flag down. Pretty heavy collision in front of the Eskimo bench, separating Arthur from the ball.
Pass interference. Edmonton, number 20. First down.
And David Pittman called for pass interference.
Well, it looked like a good, clean hit from Bailey. Didn't see a penalty there. I know that's why Kavis Reed is upset, but must have been on the trail. Let's take a look at this. A grab of the jersey from Pittman from behind, because I think Kavis Reed was arguing. They thought the call was on Bradley. That was just a clean hit and perfect timing.
They fake that swing pass, and Burris has open men downfield. And a catch is made by Anthony Parker. Just his second catch of the year, and that's his biggest so far. The highly touted product out of the Calgary Dinosaurs.
Just to buy himself a little more time, Henry Burr is going to shuffle here in the pocket. When he does, that throwing lane opens. He's got 2 seam routes to choose from. Once he steps up, little pump fake there to Joffrey Reynolds. That opens it up for him in the middle. He's got that inside seam right there to Anthony Parker, and then Forzani on the outside.
Well, he led a wave of receivers drafted in the opening round this year in the college draft. A 29-yard pickup. The Stamps threatening again. Fake to Cornish, look out! Marcus Howard steamrolls Henry Burris. His 5th sack of the year, and Howard very quickly making a name for himself in the CFL.
Man, he is coming on, and he is fun to watch. He's one of these rush hands, gets low leverage, has quick hands to the outside, and is a former Sugar Bowl MVP from 2008. University of Georgia, played Hawaii, beat him 41-10 that year, and he joins a pretty prestigious list. This is just a few big names of Sugar Bowl MVPs. Jerome Bettis, Dan Marino from Pittsburgh that year, and Tommy Clements.
Yeah, former CFL star Tom Clements. Second in extras, 15, and Henry Burris able, it looked like, to draw the Eskimos offside that time. Had a sack, Marcus Howard, on Labor Day.
Took him a couple of games. This is his 5th start.
Procedure. Calgary, number 53. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
So Edwin Harrison into his back pedal a little too quickly, and it's going the other way.
Let's take another look at that list. And I want to show you Tom Clements one more time, a former Canadian Football League star quarterback who is now, if you watched the NFL game to start the season last night in the Green Bay Packers' first win, he is now working with Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers as their quarterback coach.
And also spent some time with Paul LaPolice of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the offseason, talking offense. Commonwealth rocking on 2nd and 20. A pump one way, deep the other. Looking for Johnny Forzani, and it's overthrown. As Forzani was battling down in the end zone with Chris Thompson.
Chris Thompson played this like a veteran. He stayed in position. He was physical enough to slow Forzani down enough, but not enough to draw the penalty. Again, a pump fake buying time for Burris. But at the end of this route, right at the top of it, a little subtle push from Chris Thompson right there slows Forzani down just enough, but does not draw the flag.
So Paredes to attempt from 46 out, looking for his 3rd of the game, and the Venezuelan-born place kicker off to a terrific start tonight. Stamps lead 10-3. Our sack tally brought to you by Purolator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check.
Well, we'll see Odell Willis of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Sunday. BC Lions trying to catch them. We have 1 sack per team here tonight. Marcus Howard, who we just talked about, has his 5th, as does Charleston Hughes for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, we saw Kerry Joseph with a couple of series early in the game on Monday, back in along with Messam, and look out. Down he goes. Robert McCune, the middle linebacker, greets Kerry Joseph to the game.
Not buying the fake from Kerry Joseph. Robert McCune is going to step up and step wide rather than step into the middle. And what Edmonton is hoping that McCune will do will bury himself at Jerome Messam. He doesn't buy the fake, stays wide, and he's right there to corral Kerry Joseph.
Loss of 5 for Joseph. It was 3 for 4, 36 yards against the Stampeders. 2nd and 15, quarterback draw. And Joseph, second effort up to the 39, but well short of the first down. It's another Eskimo 2 and out.
A couple of school of thoughts here, right? First of all, if you're a guy who sees the difference in the 2 styles of Ricky Ray, who's a pocket passer, and Kerry Joseph, who's a running athletic style quarterback, you can maybe give the opposing team a little shake-up. Kavis Reed, the downside, of course, for that is you can take your quarterback, your starting quarterback, out of his rhythm.
Well, the offense out of rhythm right now, 4th consecutive 2 and out. And really the only big play offensively, the 56-yarder from Ray to Bowman. Larry Taylor inside his 20, and he nearly got away. Tossed down by Delroy Clark. 52-yard boot, 11 on the return. Back at Commonwealth, back to the sidelines, Brian Rashad.
Chris, on Monday, Greg Peach played primarily as a linebacker. Normally he's a defensive end, but he said it was the first time since grade 8 he's played an entire game as a linebacker. Hasn't played it much the last couple of years. I asked him how he liked it. He said he absolutely loved it. The big thing he liked the most, all the decision making he was able to do on every single play. As a defensive end, really only 1 or 2 decisions in terms of directions you can run in at any given time. As a linebacker, every single play you have to think. You can head in a number of different directions. He loves that responsibility. I don't know how much the Eskimos are going to continue to use him in that position, but he'll gobble up every play he can because he said he loves it, guys.
Now, wait a minute. Linebackers think?
Well, they do. And their degree of difficulty, like Ryan mentioned, is high because of all they're asked to do.
It was terrific on Monday. 1st and 10, Burris to work, and just out of the reach of Nick Lewis.
What a game he had Monday. You saw on the screen the 5 tackles. He had the forced fumble. He also had a fumble recovery. Remember, this is his first game back from injury, and Boy, did the Edmonton Eskimos benefit from his return. I mean, a guy that now has the versatility to play both spots. He lost some weight while he was out of the lineup, upwards of 20 pounds. They thought, hey, if you're going to start losing weight, shedding pounds, we can move you back a line.
How about that? Record with and without Peach. 2nd and 10, pressure. Burris gets away, and that is brought down. A good tackle there by David Pittman to prevent Burris from escaping.
Well, and this is the other thing that you can do if you're Edmonton Eskimos now with Greg Peach and his versatility. You line him up as a linebacker, move him up into the line, and then send him on a blitz, send him on a stunt here. He's coming around the edge and is providing some of the pressure along with J.C. Sherritt up the middle. So he's got that versatility. A pure pass rusher. He's used to playing defensive end, but he can play linebacker. You send him on blitzes and stunts now, and it can really confuse the offense.
Burkdale's not as deep, and Armstead at his 37 bubbling back and getting outside. John Corliss, though, and Rob Cote limit the damage. Still, that's a spark for the Eskimos up at midfield. CFL on TSN. Football action continues tomorrow. The Argos travel to BC. Take on the Lions. Live coverage at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on TSN and TSN Mobile TV. The Argos now without Cleo Bell and Stephen Giles. We'll try and get that ship turned around. In Calgary territory, best start for Ricky Ray. A lot of time, and he's got Bowman. And Adarius Bowman has his 3rd catch of the night and ends a first down drought.
You know, Adarius Bowman, I didn't want to bring it up because it's bad news, but Adarius Bowman he was a guy who at the start of his career had real drop problems in Winnipeg. I mean, he's making all of those memories go away. I mean, no one would even think about that anymore, the way he's been playing.
Prior to that catch, the Eskimos had mustered only 8 yards since the 56-yarder to Bowman early in the game. First down and nothing doing inside as Calvin McCarty is wrapped up and tossed down. Kevin Dixon there. And Charleston Hughes, who's having another good night against Edmonton.
Now, for those who think that taking a quarterback out like Ricky Ray, who's a pocket passer, and putting in Kerry Joseph is a bad thing, and this is why you would do that, because a play like that, Charleston Hughes does not worry much about Ricky Ray getting outside of containment on him. If that's Kerry Joseph, he may hold that a little longer, giving the running back more time. That's the upside of a switch at quarterback for a series or two.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. Here comes pressure. Ray stood in. Oh, what a collision that was. A jolt on Marcus Henry by Jeff Tisdale, separating the football from the receiver. That's the Battle of Alberta.
First game is all about intensity. Second game, that intensity hangs in there, but it's about survival too. It's almost like playing 2 games back to back in like a day when you only have 1 day of a work week and 3 days between games, basically.
Here's Derek Schiavone, who hit from 42 and 46 last week. And he's got this one from 45 yards out. And Schiavone now 6 for 6 since he's been handed the place kicking duties. So it's a 4-point Calgary lead. Feels like the Stampeders should be a little further ahead based on the play of this first half.
Yeah, no, and again, both teams getting deep penetration offensively, but not finishing their drives. Defenses are bending a little bit, not breaking, but you mentioned that's okay if it's a first quarter thing, but as it gets down deep into the second and into the third, it's a concern that can cost you the game.
128 for Burris. He had 132 Monday. The pitch to Joffrey Reynolds with a flag. As Reynolds up across the 40, had close to 6. And this one coming back.
Holding. Calgary, number 59. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Left guard Steve Middleton, the culprit.
Holding called on the outside, and it's a good chance for me to mention that it is referee month. If you want information on how to get involved, it's a very important part of the game of football is the officials and the job that they have. And if you go to CFL.ca, you can learn and find out information on how to get involved as an official, both at the grassroots level and at the pro level eventually.
First and 20, out in the flat. Nick Lewis has got it. And he'll roll up to the 40-yard line. Good chunk back there as Nick Lewis has 15.
Officials doing a good job tonight. Haven't seen any real controversial calls, and of course that was the big concern for John Huffnagel coming in. In the 2 games against the Edmonton Eskimos, his team has 26 penalties and 284 yards against. I mean, that's just way too many, and one of the reasons that they lost both those games.
And it's been a story all season long. They are the most penalized team in the league.
But better tonight.
Averaging over 100 yards per game in penalties. There's Rambo, and that one almost picked, but Rambo takes the hitch and gets the first down. But the Stamps might be breathing a sigh of relief after that.
Concentration by Kenyon Rambo, because there was an Edmonton defender that shot the gap there and almost had himself an interception. Chris Thompson is just, he reads the hit screen, he shoots through and distracts Rambo, but not enough to cause the incompletion.
Jabari Arthur with the redirect that saved the play. Here's the pitch to the left side for Reynolds. And he'll get stacked up and pushed back. And a couple for number 21.
4.8-yard average coming in for Joffrey Reynolds. We talked about him getting the football a little bit more. John Cornish, his first time this season, that last week John Cornish actually had more carries than Joffrey Reynolds. He had 7, and Reynolds had 6 on Labor Day. And they want to get the ball a little bit more when Joffrey Reynolds gets his time. And they usually go 2 series for Reynolds, 1 for John Cornish.
43 yards rushing for Cornish, only 13 for Reynolds. Season high 59, second down, and the out skips away from the intended target, Johnny Forzani, as the benches get the 3-minute warning here, first half. Two minutes, 38 seconds remaining in the first half here on Wendy's Friday Night Football. Then it's live at the half. We check in with the guys, see what their take is on a first half that has been dominated for the most part by the defenses and some lack of finish by the offense, especially some promising Calgary drives that have resulted in 3s.
Big return punt return for Jason Armstead.
High kick by Dales. Back at the 7 for Armstead. Justin Phillips slows him up and does bring him down. Good cover by the Laurier product. We'll check back in with Ryan Rashog.
Chris, on that last series, you saw Henry Burris come up short on what should have been a fairly easy out pass. He talked about that a couple of days ago. Very frustrated because it happened to him on Monday a few times. He told me his motto heading into this game was going to be head up, elbow up. He gets into trouble when the elbow comes down. He starts side-arming passes, and that's when they come up short. And already, guys, we've seen it happen at least 3 times already tonight.
And maybe one of the best in the league throwing that wide side out. In his career, he's got the cannon to get it there.
Deep start for Edmonton. And they go to the ground. And pick up of about 3.
Maybe Matt Dunnigan can break down just what's going on with the mechanics here of the out for Henry Burris. That one had a real wobble on it and short of Kenyon Rambo, and that's that same reaction that he had on Labor Day. Just wants to get that elbow up, head up, step into the throw, and maybe he's trying too hard and forcing it, aiming it to the spot rather than just letting it go. But this is a quarterback in the league that can make that throw in his sleep.
Yeah, ask people around the league, they'll tell you that he probably makes that throw better than anybody else in the league. Flags fly. This play doesn't get off, and it looks like a time count against Edmonton.
The wide side out is a throw for Henry Burris like the corner is for Ricky Ray.
Davis Reed arguing he was trying to call timeout. Remember on Monday when they lost it down, taking a time count late in the half.
There's no infraction on the play. Edmonton had called timeout.
So Davis Reed does get the attention of Rick Berezowski, the side judge, and so Edmonton saves the penalty, saves the down. Ricky Ray has, even with the success, they've won 2 games this year, but in the last 8 games against Calgary, they have been held to an average of under 300 net yards at 291 over an 8-game span. So it's been a tough defense for Ricky Ray to crack. Second down, going through the reads, and now out of the pocket, looking for McCarty, and in traffic, can't make the play. And it was Charleston Hughes all the way back there disrupting that play defensively.
Well, and he just distracted Calvin McCarty enough, and it's not very often you'll see a defensive lineman that deep, but he's going to roll back into coverage from the left side of your screen, or you see him now right here. Watch him as he works to the left, and then he's going to break back. Ricky Ray will get outside the pocket. Charleston Hughes now deep in that drop, a defensive end, keep in mind, and then breaks nicely to the football. I think he might have got his hand on that.
Duvall's kick bouncing at the Edmonton 50-yard line. That'll be no yards. Picked up by Larry Taylor at terrific field position here for the Stampeders with 94 seconds on the clock here at Commonwealth.
You know, Larry Taylor is a guy who is he's maybe with Chad Owens 1-2, 1-1A as far as the return game goes in the Canadian Football League. And right now, Damon Duvall is playing that a game that becomes very difficult. If you start to angle it away from the punt returner to avoid a big return, you can take a lot of yardage off your kicks. And it's
no yards. Edmonton, number 34, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Also a lot easier to shank one when you're trying to deliberately turn your body so much as a punter to try and keep it away from a returner. They've had some success with it in this game tonight, but that one a short kick trying to avoid the ball getting in the hands of Larry Taylor.
Just a 36-yard kick by Duvall, and Calgary's got the football at the Edmonton 45. There's a dart thrown to Robbie Bryant.
Like he's a little sore getting up and
caught him in a bad spot.
Spot you're not supposed to touch on TV. And he'll regroup.
Like he was going to go off for the play, but instead it's Jabari Arthur off, and 2nd and 2 for the Stampeders. Reynolds in behind. Burris takes the handoff, and he'll get stuffed. No gain, and it'll be 3rd and 2.
When Robbie Bryant tried to get to the sideline, I wonder if the coaching staff on that sideline almost gave the play away by just telling him to wave him off and say, go back in there. It's just a running play. Don't worry. We don't need you to run hard here. Just regroup from your injury. And that sort of tipped off the Edmonton defense because they took off the ball to stop the run.
Big tackle by the rookie middle linebacker, J.C. Sherritt. Tied for 4th in tackles in the CFL, and it's 3rd and a yard and a half, and the field goal team comes on. Not going to gamble here. Paredes has been good so far tonight. Not this time. Misses right, and away goes Armstead. Armstead straight up the middle, and flag flies as he's brought down just beyond the 10-yard line.
Just wonder if that was a little tip-off. You know, defensively, you're wondering on 2nd and 2 what the Calgary offense might do. It is a run down. You see Robbie Bryant tried to get off with the injury, and then they said, you know what, don't worry, it's a running play. Go ahead and just line up there.
During the return, illegal block. Edmonton, number 40. Half distance to the goal. First down.
An illegal block against Rod Davis. And so the Eskimos are backed up 53.5 on the clock here in the first half at Commonwealth. And Ricky Ray trying to kickstart an Edmonton offense that may need a first down here, or else Calgary might get one last chance to get points on the board.
I was going to say, you know, a good 2 and out here for the Calgary Stampeders, and they need at least one first down. Edmonton does. They have their timeout in this first half.
Edmonton's used theirs, and inside, not much for Messam. Up to about the 6. Only 3 completions in the half for Ricky Ray, and only 1 target. Fred Stamps is back, but has not been heard from so far tonight.
Watching Fred Stamps run, he looks like he's running smooth. Just take a half or 2 to get Fred Stamps back involved, but doesn't appear to be favoring the injury or limping in any way, or looks like he's pretty fast off the line of scrimmage.
Davis Reed did mention he actually hoped Stamps got hit early in the game to kind of get him over that hurdle.
Yeah, psychologically, you want to take that first hit, know that you've come all the way back from the injury, no matter where it is.
But the only Edmonton pass connection has been to Darius Bowman so far tonight. And they look at 2nd and 8 and hand the ball off inside, and Messam scrambling up around the 10-yard line.
Interesting call, and now Calgary probably calls their timeout here.
Well, Calgary's called the timeout, and
they just used it.
So the Eskimos stay on the ground to
try and run it out.
Get that clock running.
And they can't because they don't get the first down.
But in all likelihood, unless Duval really lets fly, Calgary's going to get the ball back with time for a couple of plays and maybe even get the ball back in scoring position.
And Duval has been deliberately kicking it away to the wide field to keep it away from Larry Taylor.
Half dozen 2 and outs for Edmonton in this first half, only 3 all of the Labor Day Classic. So they'll wind it right down. And here's Duval launching a line drive. He needs a bounce, and he gets it. A good bounce for David Duval, and Larry Taylor is taken down. Matthew Bertrand handles the special teams, and it turns out, Corbin Sherwood with another, as it turns out to be a 59-yard punt.
Boy, and Damon Duval, nice punt. It looked like it went off a bit of the side of his foot. It was a low driving punt, but it was hard enough that Larry Taylor couldn't get to it quickly enough. And there's Sharoon going down, the leading tackler in the CFL in the special teams, 15 coming in.
At least 1 in every game. He's got at least 2 in this game. Not bad for a former college quarterback. Now Burris, a lot of time, and now it's running out. And that one almost intercepted. Joaquin Bradley got his hands on the football, and that takes the clock down to 7 seconds.
Stuck with it, kept coming back. Looked like the Calgary target was coming back to the football for Burris, but this pocket's been collapsing. That was just 3-man pressure from the Edmonton Eskimos, 3-on-5. Shouldn't cause your quarterback to get out of there. Little sidearm from Henry Burris.
And fortunate that wasn't picked off. 2nd and 10. Calls the draw. Reynolds straight ahead, and he'll be short of the first down. Rambo taking exception to what could have been perceived as a late hit by Delroy Clark. And Etienne Legaré in to defend his teammate.
Borderline on the end of this play from Joffrey Reynolds.
Boy, that would have been costly. 15. Reynolds down. There's Clark late, and maybe a good non-call, but that would have taken it right into field goal range. So the final play of an opening half has been without a touchdown. Burris wants to go deep. Trying to change that. Jump ball. And caught. And the touchdown. Did you see that? Nick Lewis. And it is a Hail Mary Calgary touchdown. 62 yards.
That's why you do it. The Calgary Stampeders had 3 receivers in the area. I'm not sure. It looked like Johnny Forzani might have gone up and got a piece of it to tip it up in the air. The key to the play is Burris buying some time, getting outside the pocket, and then just throwing it up, and it's a tip ball from there. Nick Lewis, the guy in charge of going in behind the group of receivers and look for the tip. That's by design, folks, for 1 receiver to go behind and 2 to be up in front, and Forzani and Jabari Arthur, and it executed absolutely perfectly.
Flag down on the point after. What a shocker here at Commonwealth for the Eskimo fans. And Nick Lewis somehow finds the ball and has his 51st career touchdown, and maybe
Too many men. Edmonton. Penalties decline. Convert scores 1.
Maybe the most unforgettable one he's had.
Talk about grabbing momentum in the last play of the first half.
Well, so much for no touchdowns in the half. One big one on the final play, and Henry Burris can't even believe it. It's the Labor Day replay on Wendy's Friday Night Football. Instead of a 4-point lead, it's an 11-point advantage for the Stampeders after that last-second dramatics. Let's go down to the sidelines. Ryan Rashags with Fred Stamps.
Fred, offensively really sputtered in that first half. What did you say at halftime that you think you need to do to get things going?
All we have to do is just play our football. You know, we gave them a few things. Our offense, you know, they give us a different look. All we got to do is come out and play football this half and just have fun.
Return for you after missing a few weeks. You didn't see a ball in the first half. Does it make it tough to settle into a game when you're not getting balls?
Nah, I'm fine. As long as I'm out there, just an extra man on me. They bracket me a little bit. As long as they pull an extra man out the defense or whatever, that's fine with me.
Thanks, Fred.
All right.
A lot of people will say that that was just a hope and a prayer, a Hail Mary from Henry Burris to end the half, but there's a method to this madness, and there's a real design of the play, and the key is Nick Lewis right there, the third receiver inside. He's got to get down the field faster than the other two, who are Anthony Parker and John Forzani, because he's going to be the trail. He's going to be in behind looking for the tip and having his 2 teammates come underneath and try and create a pile of Edmonton Eskimos, and those 2 receivers going for the football to create the tip. By design, you get all those players now looking up at the ball, all 6 of them, with in behind all of that Nick Lewis looking for that tip. He gets that tip, gets what he's looking for, and then C.J. Bailey doesn't wrap up.
There's Armstead on the kick return, bringing it almost up to the 40-yard line. And as the guys mentioned, back in 2008, it was against Montreal when Henry Burris did the same thing to end a half and hooked up with an unbelievable touchdown to Teo Johnson on that day. Pretty good lesson that even if the ball's at your own 40 or 45-yard line, never hurts to throw it up on the final play of the half.
Well, you could draw a penalty flag too, and the half can't end on a penalty, so you get one more down.
Well, can the Eskimos get their offense rolling? There's a completion of Marcus Henry, so now Ricky Ray has 2 targets on the night after only 3 completions in the first half, all to Darius Bowman.
You take a look at the numbers after one half of football in the rematch. 220 yards for Burris. Had a couple of opportunities in the first quarter inside the around the 30-yard line, one right inside the 20, and came away with field goals. And then I wonder how much that drop pass by Jerome Messam when they were down inside the 20 for the Edmonton Eskimos affected that offense psychologically when he had a sure touchdown.
Second and a couple, and there's a completion to Rodriguez, and it's an Eskimo first down near midfield.
You know, the one thing I've noticed a little differently, though, of this game, Ricky Ray has been under a little bit more pressure than he was on Labor Day, and more pressure than he was on July 23rd when these two teams played as well. And Charleston Hughes has been coming off the ball hard. We've seen Robert McCune also playing pretty well from the linebacking core. Chris Jones knows the one thing: if you give Ray time in that pocket playing against him for so many years, then he will eventually get going with this receiving core. Well, that's been a big difference for Calgary. They haven't hurt themselves with penalties, and they're getting a good pass rush led by Charleston Hughes.
Just the third first down for the Eskimos. Robert McCune, the middle linebacker, getting attention. We'll be right back. Well, this could be a serious injury for the Stampeders. Another middle linebacker down. Robert McCune to the sidelines. No weight on that right leg. Juwan Simpson already out, and Kwasi Antwi, the rookie out of Mount Allison, is in. First down, Ray under pressure, and Matthew Burnside a catch, and a first down into Stamp territory as Ricky Ray showed some patience there with the pressure around him.
It did not look good for Robert McCune. He didn't put any weight on that right leg after this, and he didn't run into any of the Edmonton Eskimo offensive line. He was just trying to fill a hole there. He pulls up on his own and then did not put any weight on that right leg at all as he left the field.
His fifth start at middle linebacker. 8 tackles on Monday. Can they handle the run game without the middle linebacker? Good job there. As Torrey Davis brings down Calvin McCarty. Juwan Simpson did come back for one game after a sprained knee, but McCune's been back at the middle linebacker spot the past 2 games.
And has he ever played well when he's been a middle linebacker? 20 tackles, a sack, and interception, all from that spot. It looked like they're trying to stretch something out.
No gain for McCarty. 2nd and 10. And looked like there was some early movement there on the Eskimos' offensive line.
Procedure. Edmonton, number 54. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
See, at the end of that, Ricky Ray was trying to rally his troops a little bit. You don't hear much from Ray, or at least see him, you know, doing a lot of the rah-rah sort of talk to get his team going. But after that penalty, he knows the urgency necessary to get back in this one. And those penalties can kill you. They're drive stoppers if you get in those 2nd and long situations. So Ricky Ray trying to rally him, clapping him up there, saying, come on, boys, let's go.
That was the newcomer at right tackle, Chris Patrick. Moved prematurely. 2nd and 15. 3-man rush. Pressure from Malik Jackson. Dumped off. Here's McCarty with a cutback. Calvin McCarty finally dropped at the 36-yard line. He'll be short of the first down, but getting it into Derek Schiavone range with a 12-yard gain.
Sometimes when you time up these blitzes, you can get caught on the snap count, but Malik Jackson here is perfect. He's coming off the edge, and he's trying to hit it on the run. He just steps up, and bam, he catches that snap count, and that's what flushes Ricky Ray so quickly. He drops it off to Calvin McCarty. Does a pretty good job to get a lot of those yards back. But perfect timing for Malik Jackson. It's been a quiet season for him. Nice play there from the Calgary defender.
4th completion of the second half for Ricky Ray, who had only 3 in the first half, and Schiavone on to attempt the field goal, and there's his first miss of the year, and Larry Taylor's dangerous on the returns, and Schiavone misses him, and Larry Taylor all the way out across midfield, and that's the danger when you miss, and Larry Taylor is waiting. 63 on the bringback.
Larry Taylor on the big missed field goal return here. He does it all by himself early on. A lot of Edmonton tacklers in position. He makes a miss. Good speed to bounce to the outside. He does get the one block right here by the corner. Greg Fassett playing on the special teams, and he gets a block there to buy himself another 20-25 yards.
They marked him out short of the midfield stripe. It's a 60-yard return, longest of the year for Calgary. And John Cornish now into Edmonton territory with that carry to the Eskimo 52.
Chris, sometimes the starters in the Canadian Football League have to play on the special teams. That was a good block by Greg Fassett. We've seen John Cornish go down on the cover teams, the punt cover team, and make a couple of tackles here tonight. He had 5 on the season coming in.
Cornish did his damage last week, all in the second half offensively. And gives Burris and the offense plenty of options here on 2nd and 4, but some confusion leading to a timeout.
Calgary.
Early in this second half to be burning your timeout.
Yeah, that's just a communication issue. The formation didn't match the play, and Dave Dickinson wanted to just regroup, get Henry Burris on the sideline, but yeah, you're right. You don't want to have to use your timeout now. It also affects your challenge possibilities later.
With that said, it could be a critical possession here. Already an 11-point lead. Little momentum here, good field position, and really take a stranglehold on the rematch if they could put together a touchdown drive. Remember, first place at stake, both 6 and 3, as they head into the back 9. 2nd and 4, and a drop by Taylor. Well, maybe not as costly as the one by Jerome Messam, but mark that one down too.
Yeah, and you know, Henry Burris, you talked about it before the half, and Matt Dunnigan talked about in his head that out. Now, this is a short side, so it's a shorter throw, obviously by far, but I like the release. He just let it go there. It was right on the mark. It got to the outside shoulder. Larry Taylor took a peek before he caught the football, and that's why he dropped it. But it looked like the throwing mechanics for Henry Burris on the out, even though it was short side, was better in that one than it was in the first half.
Burke Dales looks for the pin, a line drive kick, and there's Armstead on the return, and there's John Cornish. And what a valuable man he is in so many ways for the Stampeders. Update on Robert McEwen from Ryan Rashog.
Yeah, Chris, just down here on the Stampeder sideline right now. It's not as bad as it originally looked. When they brought him off the field, wasn't putting any weight at all on that right leg. Well, I kept an eye on him when they got him back to the bench. He did stand up, put some pressure on that right leg, tested it out a little bit. They stretched it around. Now they've got some ice on him. He's not being ruled out to return at this point. They said they're going to let it ice, see how he feels after. May not be done for the night, though. No guarantees at this point, Chris.
In the meantime, the rookie Antwi in the middle of that Calgary defense as Ricky Ray tries to get something going, and a handoff to Messam for a couple.
Yeah, not surprised that Edmonton will go right to the run game to try and test out Kwasi Antwi in the middle. Marcus Crandall will want to see if he can hold up as a middle linebacker, especially in the run game and especially on first down. Pretty good job on first down to start this series. Just a 2-yard gain for Messam.
Ball at the Edmonton 20, 2nd and 8. And Ray under pressure, and Malik Jackson will toss him down. Check that. That's Kevin Dixon with the sack. And this Edmonton Eskimo offense continues to struggle in the rematch.
Ricky Ray wanted a backside route here. He's going to roll this direction, and watch when he gets to the point where he's looking. So he rolls back, but then he tries to flip his head around there quickly to go backside in that direction. That's not open for him on the backside. That's where it starts to break down. And the pressure closes quickly.
3 sacks for the Stamps, who were shut out the last 2 games in that department. Here's Taylor losing his footing. Turf Monster gets him, and it's been a tough couple of plays for Larry Taylor after the big missed field goal return.
And he's laughing about this one going to the bench, because this is the one that when you do this as a player and you start heading to the bench, the one thing in the back of your mind right now for Larry Taylor is, oh boy, I'm going to hear about this tomorrow when we watch the film. It's exactly what he's thinking right now, because he just had the big return on the missed field goal, lost his footing there. It happens to everybody once in a while, and he's going, oh boy. At least Calgary, they're hoping that they win so that it's not as hard on the film room tomorrow, but he's gonna catch it.
50-yard Booty loses 2 on the return. And there's Burris, pressure on him, and he gets away. Flag down now as Julius Williams still in pursuit. And open downfield, it's batted away. Joffrey Reynolds was there, but Rod Davis defensively for the Eskimos. And it looks like that was in the holding area against Calgary.
Holding. Calgary, number 62. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Right tackle Stanley Bryant.
And give some credit to these secondaries here tonight, because I think both when we're watching Ricky Ray or when John Huffnagel's watching his guy and Henry Burris, they're not able to throw to their initial read, whether it be the side of the field or a group of receivers that they're looking to initially. The secondaries for both Edmonton and Calgary are taking away the first read, and it's forcing these quarterbacks to scramble around a little bit.
So it's 1st and 20. Back at the 38. 3-man rush, a pump. He is intercepted. It's picked off by Chris Thompson. And a big turnover for the Edmonton Eskimos. Their 23rd of the year.
And that one fooled Henry Burris. He thought he had man-to-man on the outside. He tried a double move. And what he had was a zone defense, and Chris Thompson playing high as the outside third player in the zone defense. So that ball thrown right into his hands as he breaks down. He thought he had man-to-man with the man-to-man on the bottom here with the matchup with Bailey. And that's what Henry Burris thought. He thought he had man-to-man, and he had that man beat. What he didn't see is he had a deep defender in the zone defense in Chris Thompson.
So Chris Thompson has his 2nd of the year. Let's see what the Eskimos do with it. 24 points after turnovers on Monday, and Marcus Henry gets away for extra yards down the sidelines.
Hey, Thompson family, I love y'all. The Moles, I know what it is, man.
20th career interception for the 5-year bet.
I promise. Almost down back at the crib. For y'all.
Well, Calgary had 4 turnovers Monday, 3 touchdowns and a field goal for Edmonton. Trying to get back into this game by making the Stampeders pay for that interception. 1st and 10. Putting it up, and they're not on the same page as that ball falls well away from any intended target. Looked like it was Fred Stamps, who Ricky Ray wanted to hook up with.
Fred Stamps ran corner. Ricky Ray wanted post and through post. Now, it's hard to tell who made the mistake here, but that's the route that Fred Stamps is going to run. And Ricky Ray on the break. He's got to get rid of this ball on the break, and he does, but he throws to the post. Remember, Fred Stamps missed the last 3 games due to injury.
And still without a catch in this game. 5 for 161 and a pair of touchdowns back in July against Calgary. Looking in the end zone, Precier Rodriguez, and that off the fingertips of the corner, Jeff Tisdale. And so the Eskimos will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Dangerous pass there from Ricky Ray. They almost had that picked off. Looked like Ray locked into that side of the field right away. He backed up a couple steps. He's got pressure a couple times in a row down there, but you could see a couple of Calgary defenders. Virtually no window for Precier Rodriguez there.
Chironi coming off a miss from 24 yards out. Has put that through, and now it's an 8-point lead for the Stampeders.
Yeah, good
Great start last night.
Yeah, it was a good game. Boy, Aaron Rodgers looks on the mark in Green Bay.
After the field goal, Calgary takes possession at their 35 with Joffrey Reynolds in the backfield with a handoff off the left side. And Reynolds able to burrow his way for 8. So better tonight. John Hufnagel put a premium on having a better run game tonight. It has not been spectacular, but has shown some signs.
Well, it has. You know, I mean, coming into this game, Joffrey Reynolds 7 runs over 10 yards, so he's still got the ability to break that. He had 4 over 20 coming into this game tonight. He just needs some more touches because running backs will tell you they get more of those big runs the back half of the game, right in the 4th quarter.
Good take, 2nd and 2, back to Reynolds. Knight carrying a good one. Joffrey Reynolds into the secondary. Taken down by the safety, Donovan Alexander. That's a 21-yard pickup for number 21. And now getting close to his best game of the season.
Natural hold to that play side before the snap of the ball, and it catches the Edmonton Eskimos this play in a stunt with Rod Davis going outside in that stunt, trying to get some pressure, and then that run up the middle fools them. Big opening for Joffrey Reynolds.
Season high is 59 yards, up to 55, and Cornish into the game, and they stay on the ground. And John Cornish off and running inside the 15, and finally runs out of room. But another huge run after 21 for Reynolds. It's 38 for John Cornish. That's the longest run of the season for the Calgary Stampeders.
And this is how important balance in the run game is. And you talked about how they talked about, you can see Marcus Howard just outside to the right of your screen come hard off the edge from the right side as if he's in full pass rush mode on 1st down going after Henry Burris. That opens up the cutback lane now for John Cornish, who takes full advantage of it, running through the arm tackle of J.C. Sherritt.
Sets up 1st and goal. Big run night now. Back to Reynolds. And he's stacked up at about the 5. Sets up a big 2nd and goal now for Dave Dickinson, the play caller.
I often talk about it because playing defense, I knew how difficult it was to play against a balanced team because it even affects the secondary. Even though your job in the defensive secondary should be pass first always, when you start having success on the run, you start wanting to help out and make those tackles on running backs, and that's when you get caught moving forward when you shouldn't be.
Double tight end formation, 2nd and goal from the 4. Burris looking into the end zone, and Rambo stumbled, and the ball falls incomplete.
I'm not so sure if he would have got there anyway. It looked like that ball went out the back end. But he did stumble, working on Chris Thompson, who, by the way, he got going here. Sometimes you need that first one to get you started if you're defensive back looking for interceptions. He got one on that last series, and he got his first on Labor Day Monday. That's 2 on the season, and remember, he had 7 last year.
And is that 3 good-looking Calgary drives that have come up short?
Mm-hmm.
Paredes with a chip shot from 11 yards out. And that restores the 11-point Calgary lead here late in the 3rd quarter.
Bit of a special teams game, and as I mentioned earlier, whether you're playing on offense as John Cornish or playing defensive back, you still have to play on the teams as well. And Cornish contributing in a lot of different ways. This nice run in the 1st half, a little screen pass out of the backfield when he got his turn to play starting tailback. But we've mentioned his job on the punt cover team and how well he's played there. I mean, 3 tackles here tonight that I've counted. He had 5 coming in. That's 8 total for John Cornish, who's on those cover teams as well.
Why our colleague Dwayne Ford had him rated as the #1 Canadian player in the Canadian Football League at the start of this season.
And a 30-plus yard run on that last series. But you're right, I believe that's the 3rd drive now that the Calgary Stampeders have had to settle for field goal attempts and just can't finish off these drives. But here's his big run in this last series. Nice on the cutback right there on Marcus Howard. 38-yarder, sorry, Chris.
Longest run of the year for the Stampeders. They should just get to their own 40 and heave it up to the end zone. That's how they scored their touchdown on the Hail Mary. If you're joining us late, Armstead cut down as he falls forward across the 30. As Keon Raymond makes the tackle.
Another starter.
Mike Miller, the Riverview, New Brunswick native who's been a special teams demon for Edmonton, comes up on the limb.
You mentioned Corbin Sharon and Mike Miller. Those are two guys who have been competing against each other to lead the league in special teams tackles. Sharon coming in with 15. He led the league coming in and still does. 13 special team tackles coming in for Miller.
When we get to Moncton on the 25th of September for Touchdown Atlantic, a lot of people in the Moncton area are going to be asking us about what we think of Mike Miller, who's made quite an impact in his rookie year. Eskimos start on the ground again, and it's Messam, and there's not much there. Jerome Messam entered this game 4th in the CFL in rushing, largely on the strength of a huge game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
You know, he's not had a super long career, obviously, and his career average about 4.4 is not bad. You want to be over 5, and in the last 3 games, it has really dropped. I mean, he had a couple games there where he was in negative yardage, and that forced his average down to 2.5. He just can't seem to get going.
Whoa. 2nd and 8, and all kinds of confusion there. Boy, it's been a tough year for the running backs, and the run game has been grumbling in Edmonton and Calgary and Winnipeg, and it just seems like the run game's been tough to get established in 2011.
Procedure. Edmonton, number 54. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
That's another penalty against the right tackle, the newcomer out of Nebraska, Chris Patrick.
One of the reasons for that, and talking to offensive coordinators, why the run game is struggling a little bit, is the quickness of the defenders. You know, Marcus Crandall and Dave Dickinson both talked about how defensive linemen are getting so much quicker that they can play both the outside and containment and also take the running backs.
So 2nd and 13. Ray recovered from the low snap. Marcus Henry got a ways to go, but he's going to get the first down as he steps out at the 43.
Pretty nice job of running by Marcus Henry after the fact as he comes back on the curl. He was well short of the first down here when he makes this catch. And that's one of the few times that Ricky Ray's been able to go to his #1 guy, that just sort of outside curl towards the sideline, and got the first down after it.
So Henry becoming a bigger part of this Eskimo attack in the 2nd half. First down, Ray has Marcus Henry again. And he's got another first down up at midfield, and that's a milestone completion.
Yes, it is. Ricky Ray has just tied Matt Dunnigan all-time completions in the Canadian Football League. Anthony Calvillo leads the list. And with his next one, Ricky Ray will move into 5th place all by himself.
In this, his 9th year in the CFL. All with the Eskimos, where Matt Dunnigan started his Hall of Fame career. 11 yards, first down, and there is Fred Stamp's first catch of the night. Bounced out by Morley, and Matt, we hate to tell you, you've dropped a spot in the all-time completion list.
And maybe more importantly in this game for the Edmonton Eskimos, that's a completion to Fred Stamps. And sometimes it only takes one to get a receiver going as well, and maybe that's the one.
17 to Stamps. And this Eskimo offense looking better in the 2nd half. Here's a pitch to Messam. And he'll crash over the 40 down to the 38-yard line. And Jerome Messam, 3 to 4 yards on that carry.
Matt Dunnigan played for I think I was counting 6 teams in the Canadian Football League, but you're right. A lot of the great years here with the Edmonton Eskimos as Brian Kelly here on Labor Day in Calgary as a member of the Edmonton Eskimos. Played with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the Toronto Argonauts.
Winnipeg, Birmingham,
BC
finished
Lions.
in Hamilton. How about a team that he started out with at one time had Tracy Ham, Damon Allen, and Matt Dunnigan, all on the same roster. And they'll all be in the Hall of Fame. And we could debate why Damon Allen's not already in the Hall of Fame, but that might take a while. So he'll be there soon enough. So a third down and the field goal team comes on. And Schiavone with an attempt from outside the 45. And check that, it's going to be Damon Duvall coming in. So Schiavone missed from outside 45, and Duvall's going to get his first try of the night. Under 74%, which is why Schiavone got the assignment, and Duvall has hooked another, and this will go for a single point. And the lead now is 10. Eskimos getting the pass game a little bit more involved, better running in the second half by Calgary, and after 3 quarters, there are the numbers.
Well, and they did get a pass completed to Fred Stamps. Congratulations to Ricky Ray moving past Matt Dunnigan with his completion totals. But again, a game of some missed opportunities for Edmonton early on, and also for the Calgary Stampeders. There's been 30 points in this game, and only 1 touchdown on that Hail Mary.
And that is the only major score, one that probably shouldn't have happened. It's been a case of the defense digging in when it's had to.
Yeah, they bent a little bit. You saw Calgary Stampeders, when they did get their running game going, they moved it right down inside the 15-yard line. In fact, inside the 10, and had to settle for a field goal.
Interesting to know if they decided to go with Duvall just because of the distance, or whether Schiavone may have tweaked something in this game. But the missed field goal, the single point, makes it a 10-point game. And catch by Rambo, and C.J. Bailey on the scene there defensively for Edmonton.
There's the wide side out we talked about. And it looked like Henry Burris brought Kenyon Rambo a little bit back to the football, but didn't make the catch, and himself in a good second down situation.
Stampeders receivers lead the league in yak yards this year. Yards after the catch is group over 1,100 now. Remarkably, Edmonton held them to 53 extra yards on Monday. Here comes the blitz by Pittman. A quick hitter is caught, and Parker's got another catch. 2-catch game for the rookie out of the Calgary Dinosaurs, Anthony Parker, moving it into Edmonton territory.
Nice catch there. You know, this is part of the game in this particular game that's different than most, where the players really have to dig down deep now, because they start to feel like they're running in quicksand after having to play on Monday, and just having the short work week to get to this game here on Friday night is where they have to dig down and play with that intensity, and the final gun sounds.
1st and 10, Reynolds straight ahead and down to the Edmonton 50. Tom Higgins, who has coached both of these teams, is here tonight, the director of officials, and he said it really would be unfair to ask teams to play with such a short break between games, except for the fact that both teams are in the same boat.
Yeah, and this is history, and this is part of a tradition that this won't go away, and I don't think it should either. It is tough on the players, though, right now. It's more about survival when you get into the 4th quarter of this game.
Well, it's 2nd and 7 from the Eskimo 49. Burris pressure, and he just threw that away. Big heat was coming from another one of those young defensive ends, Julius Williams, who dislocated his elbow in training camp. He was getting all the camp pump in Edmonton Eskimo training camp and has had to bounce back off that injury.
And he's taking his time to just try and sort of learn the system, learn that yard off the ball. I know that coaching staff here in Edmonton talked so highly of him that they were just couldn't wait to see him play. That injury slowed his progression down a little bit. Still looking for his first sack.
High kick by Dales. This is a beauty. Let's see where they end up spotting the football. Edmonton gets pinned, and it will be at their own 13-yard line. They always get big crowds on the Labor Day replay. 45,672 on hand tonight. That's the biggest crowd so far in the CFL.
Not sure who won it, but the 50-50 was $49,000 tonight.
Ricky Ray going deep. Bowman in behind. He's got it. Down to the Calgary 49-yard line. Second time it's been a long-distance hookup from Ray to Bowman.
Second play of this football game. Ricky Ray went to Darius Bowman for what was really the only big play in the first half. He does a nice job of looking off the defenders, look to that wide side sideline, and then just put it up over the top to Darius Bowman.
Well, Matt Dunnigan told you before the game that he's become a spark, and he's been the best offensive weapon for Edmonton tonight. Now Ray looks to the other side. Nowacki, his first catch. Touchdown on Monday. And the Eskimos have another first down, a 12-yard gain.
Last week in Calgary, I mentioned that 5 catches for 81 yards. It's just a nice 6.2-yard average. It's another deep threat for the Edmonton Eskimos to have a Darius Bowman. He also was second on the team in second down catches. So that issue that he had early in his career, long gone, because he's making the clutch catch, too, when they need to move the chains.
And again, one of the reasons the Eskimos were 5-0 out of the gate. Bowman's good play. Fred Stamps was red hot. And Jason Barnes, who is out with a rib injury. Here's Priestley Rodriguez getting into the act. And the middle linebacker, the rookie, Antwi, with the tackle down at the 30-yard line. That's close to 8. And a mark at the 31, so not quite 8 yards. And now Antwi a little slow to get up, and he's going to take a knee, and
wow,
that will cause Chris Jones to have to make more adjustments. And there's Robert McCune. There was a suggestion he might be back. I think we know the answer to that now.
And now Antwi is going to have to stay on the sideline for a minimum of 3 plays. He looks like he's going to be okay. But once the training staff comes out, he's got to go out for 3 plays.
So looks like Justin Phillips might drop back. Defensive end who is standing in that middle linebacker position and was saying in the Chris Jones defense he has to drop 10 to 15 times a game from his defensive end position. We've seen Charleston Hughes do that tonight.
Yeah, he has that body type. Justin Phillips is 6'3", 236, so he's got that linebacker body type. But you know he hasn't taken hardly any reps, if any, at middle linebacker.
So no McCune, no Antwi. 2nd and 4, do you change your play call with all that in mind or not?
Run right at him, see if he can handle it.
And they go. Double tights. And they will try to run right at him, but Jerome Messam is going to get the first down. Good call, offensive coordinator.
Well, and it's a nice formation, too. That's part of this call and why it's successful, because he's only back in the backfield, number 1. There's Justin Phillips. Let's see how he does trying to fill in and just hang in there. He takes a step to the outside, and that's enough to put him in a bad angle to try and come back and help out. That's why Messam gets the first down. Fairness to Justin Phillips, as I mentioned, not likely that he took any reps at middle linebacker this week or last.
Best run of the game for Messam, only 5 carries, 15 yards. Ray looking to the corner for Bowman, and just out of his reach. About a stride too long.
Sometimes when you have a replacement in and you're down to the third guy in your depth chart, as Chris Jones is with Justin Phillips, the best thing to do for him is to take the thinking part out of the game and just send him. Tell him you got the A gap and go ahead and go on the blitz, and that may have taken a little bit of the accuracy off that throw.
Got an injury on the field. It looks like Devin Tyler, the left tackle, shaken up. So we'll take a timeout and be right back. Now This Is Our League is brought to you by Nissan, innovation for all.
Right on, Eskimos. We're marching right on, Eskimos. We're charging down the field for all to see. And shouting, rah, 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 fight on to victory. We're fighting on.
He is a legend.
Yes, he is.
Edmonton's answer to Harry Carey, 44 years, the play-by-play man. And one of the all-time greats.
And I guarantee you he knows the words to that song.
And just turned 77.
That happens every game here at Commonwealth Stadium. In between the third and the fourth quarters, Brian Hall leads the fight song.
It looks like $1 million. Tyler to the sideline, 2nd and 10. And that pass is going to come up short. And the drive stalls for the Eskimos. Down by 10, the field goal unit comes on.
Charleston Hughes involved again. He's having himself a real good game. And I'm not sure if at the end of the night the numbers will say that, but he cuts across the face of Ricky Ray there. I believe he gets his hands on that throw.
There has been some progress on that Eskimo offense in the second half. And now Schiavone trying to get them to within a converted touchdown. From 32 yards out, Schiavone puts it through. And now it is a 20-13 Calgary lead.
Last time the Calgary Stampeders lost on Labor Day at home was 2008. They won the rematch and went on to win the Grey Cup.
These two rivals have been grinding it out tonight in the heat. Little pump fake and into the flat, and another one falls short of the target.
Really working those sidelines, and it's been a bit of an issue. You heard Matt Dunnigan talk about it at halftime, that he thinks it's in his head, and that very well could be that he's trying to aim that ball and just not confident in letting it go to the sideline and trying to maybe go through the checklist of technique and fundamentals through his mind. And the game time, as Matt said, is not when you do that. That one he was a bit on the run, but again, Henry Burris has made a living out of strong arm and throws to the sideline, and he just flat out missed him.
Here's a big play. 2nd and 10. Didn't convert one of these on Monday. Got it open. Kenyon Rambo's got it. Yeah, guaranteed. Still going, and finally dropped at the 25-yard line. That could be the biggest play of the season for Kenyon Rambo. It is 51 yards.
And Henry Burris gets some time and a nice block from his running back to gun one down the seam and wide open. That's a mistake in coverage from the Edmonton Eskimos as they leave Kenyon Rambo open. Watch what the reason that Henry Burris got a chance to make this throw. There's John Cornish. He's been Mr. Everything for this football team tonight. Look him step outside on Munoz, pick up the blitz, fight to make sure he gives his quarterback enough time to find the open receiver.
Rambo wide open. First down at the Edmonton 25. And there's Robbie Bryant. It'll be another Calgary first down. Dropped at the 13. Emphatically.
And I'm wondering if Dave Dickinson is altering things a little bit. If Henry Burris is having troubles throwing to the sideline and the outs, he throws a seam on the last play to Kenyon Rambo. That time, Robbie Bryant ran an inside curl route and maybe get him a little closer to build the confidence of his quarterback. But a nice throw. He got him into the inside, and here's the tackle. A pretty good hit.
J.C. Sherritt along with C.J. Bailey and Henry Burris, over 300 on the night. That's the 4th time this season he's got over 300. Once more, ducks away. How about that? Touchdown! And an arm pump that nobody will take exception to. Henry Burris with a great 13-yard touchdown run.
I believe that play that was designed to go out into the flat to Henry Burris to get it outside, and that was covered well. So he pulls the brakes on there, cuts back in, and then it's just all Henry Burris.
Third touchdown of the year, 4 plays, 75 yards, and do you think that was a message?
That was the fist pump that he did. And he said to me yesterday, he said, you know, I've done that fist pump many times. Sometimes when I'm frustrated, sometimes when I'm excited.
Extra point through. Second touchdown of the game by the Stampeders offense. And this is the first touchdown scoring drive that really looked good.
Again, John Cornish in the backfield gets the block to give Henry Burris a little bit of time. J.C. Sherritt's coming off the edge. Nice cut block right there. Now he's just got one man to beat to the field. That's Julius Williams. Cuts inside of him. Coverage was good on the intended target, so he just did the rest on his own and found the seam up the middle. But another key block in the drive for John Cornish.
Well, the Hail Mary was a little bit fortunate, but that an impressive drive, 4 plays that might be the dagger, although still plenty of time on the clock, but a very loose Calgary bench right now after that touchdown.
Well, there is plenty of time, but it's getting to that area where Kavis Reed's got to start thinking about maybe hurry up offense. Remember the last time the Edmonton Eskimos, who have beaten Calgary twice this year already, the last time they swept the overall season series with Calgary was 2002, and that year Edmonton won the Grey Cup.
Armstead from the 8-yard line, and he accelerates in a hurry. Anthony Parker stayed with him and angles him out at the 35. Good pursuit by the rookie, having his best night as a pro.
Should say Edmonton got to the Grey Cup in 2002.
Here in Edmonton.
Yes. Montreal won it. Edmonton won in 2003, but got to the Grey Cup is what I meant to say.
Well, it's a 2-touchdown lead. Edmonton's been better in the second half, but Calgary yet to surrender a touchdown to the Ricky Ray offense. Kwesi Antwi back in for Calgary. There's a catch by Nowacki, brought down immediately by the corner Greg Fossett. And a short gain, about 4 for Nowacki.
This is the time where Ricky Ray really needs to get Fred Stamps involved if he can. I mean, this is in the first 6 games of the season is where Fred Stamps was the go-to guy. Over 100 yards in 5 of those 6. Been quiet tonight in his first game back, just 1 catch.
17 yards for Stamps. It came in the second half. Here's Ray. And underneath it goes. That's Nowacki to midfield. Charleston Hughes brings him down. But the Eskimos have a first down at the midfield stripe.
And trying to get up on the line of scrimmage, as we mentioned. That's what Marcus Crandall's got them doing, calling the plays on the line. And trying to get as many plays in offensively as they can as this clock runs down.
And maybe work a tired defense. Another completion, and Henry will step out in front of Malik Jackson.
You know, a tired defense, and one that when you get into hurry-up situations, you have to then get into basic vanilla coverages, because you don't want, especially with injuries. Chris Jones with injuries at linebacker. Juwan Simpson didn't even dress tonight, and Robert McCune, who left the game early, has now got Antwi in there. You got to keep it simple, very simple coverages, either man-to-man, very simple with a man in the middle, or zone defense, but got to go vanilla, and Ricky Ray could take advantage of that.
Second and less than a yard, so maybe a free play here for Edmonton. Now, if they don't use it that way, they'll just get the first down, and it was tough sledding for Calvin McCarty. Thought he might have taken a free shot there with second and less than a yard, but they secure a fresh set of downs instead. Again, there's lots of time, but the onus on Kavis Reed's crew here to generate its first major of the night. Here comes Heat Ray looking for Stamps. He's got it. Fred Stamps as Ricky Ray somehow gets that away with Malik Jackson bearing down.
The reason that Ricky Ray got this away is because he knew the coverage going in. He knew the man he wanted, which was the corner. Malik Jackson coming off the edge is clean, and Ricky Ray just has to throw it to the spot.
The old fall away, and it does connect with Stamps for 25 yards. Second catch of the game for Fred Stamps. The Eskimos a first down at the Calgary 19. Ray looks for that corner. Watch Bowman. Bowman interference. And hard to argue that against Keon Raymond.
Yeah, no question here. Is a push well before the ball arrived. Darius Bowman, Ricky Ray loves this route down in this area. There's a little grab there. They're not going to call that. Got away with that one. But that push right there as he ran into Bowman before the ball arrives and put the ball on the 1 yard line.
At the 1 yard line. First down.
Keon Raymond, who was burned for his first touchdown against this season on Labor Day. Perhaps the best defensive player the Stampeders had in the first half of the season. But it's a first and goal Edmonton. Kerry Joseph in. Kerry Joseph. Touchdown. And plenty of time left. The Edmonton Eskimos do what they have to do to stay alive in the Labor Day rematch.
With lots of time to play. And Fred Stamps with a big catch in the drive. A tired Calgary defense having to face the hurry-up Edmonton offense. Gives up the major. You got to finish.
So the Calgary Stampeders went 75 yards for a touchdown in 4 plays. The Edmonton Eskimos answered, going 75 yards in 7 plays. And a Kerry Joseph touchdown makes it a 7-point game once again.
The key play being that big catch by Fred Stamps and maybe a bigger throw, but Stamps, watch as he runs this corner route now. Ricky Ray understands the coverage. He's going to get man-to-man. He just got to get out to that spot, but with Malik Jackson in his face, he's going to throw it a little bit underneath so that Fred Stamps can work away from that coverage for Brandon Smith and come back and look at how excited he is to get involved into this football game with a nice big play on that drive. Get this one into a photo finish, and there is how that drive ended with Kerry Joseph in the end zone.
Go get the ball back, man. Let's go. Go get the ball back.
Fred Stamps wants the ball back, but Calgary's going to get a chance here to increase the lead. You wouldn't expect a short kick in this situation, and they do kick it away. And here's Sean Cornish in another roll. And good downfield cover, preventing Cornish from reaching the 30-yard line. That group's been good all season long, and Munoz was down to lead the Edmonton cover team.
An Edmonton defense that ranks right in the middle of the league in most categories. Against the run, they're 5th. Against the pass, they're 5th. But in points allowed coming in, 2nd in the league. Maybe their most important series right here. First place on the line. They need a 2 and out.
Plus trying to help. Jeffrey Reynolds wrapped and taken down, and J.C. Sharon continues his fine rookie season at middle linebacker. We have clicked past 3 minutes remaining. The 3-minute warning to the benches. A touchdown separating the Alberta rivals.
Nick Lewis Hail Mary touchdown was the only major. It was a kicker's game before, up until that point. Darius Bowman, another big game for him, 133 yards. May need him again if the Edmonton defense can get the ball back. Congratulations to Ricky Ray, who's in the 5th place, passing Matt Dunnigan in the all-time completions list.
Over 45,000 here at Commonwealth, and they're getting to their feet. Second and 7, Henry Burris and the Stampeders. The header complete, and another big catch for Kenyon Rambo. Stampeders have a first down at their 45.
Kenyon Rambo's going to get a lot of room as he's by himself to the wide side of the field, so a lot of room for him to go ahead and run his one-on-one route on the rookie C.J. Bailey.
Well, Rambo with a 100-plus yard game, his best night of the year, yardage-wise. They fake the pitch, and Burris will skip away. Henry Burris has a first down and slides. And they will call the penalty as an Eskimo falls over him. And an extra 15 will be tacked on.
Well, J.C. Sherrod had a chance to get Henry Burris in the backfield from his linebacker spot. And just stumbled before he got there. And that stumble cost him a tackle at the line of scrimmage right there. And it looked like Cornish might have got a little piece of him.
Just a chip.
15 yards out at the end of the play. First down.
Doesn't get him there because of that chip. Gets outside, and then they'll tack on the penalty after this for that piling on.
Here's the late hit by Legare. Trying to avoid it, but you can't contact the quarterback when he's slid feet first. Davis Reed doesn't buy it. The 32-yard play. And they're into scoring territory at the Eskimo 33. Reynolds. And he'll crash to the 25. Joffrey Reynolds has a season-high night. That's his 12th carry, and now up to 72 yards.
Well, both running backs been key to Calgary tonight. I mean, John Cornish, we've shown you a bunch of examples of how he has contributed, and then a big night for Joffrey Reynolds, and this is where they need him the most to try and eat up the final 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Second and 3. And flags fly. Looks like they're short of the first down as the ball popped loose.
A lot of movement on that defensive line for Edmonton. Not sure if they were drawn, but there was a lot of movement. They're trying to blitz everybody.
Offside. Edmonton, number 47. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And it is J.C. Sherrod. Offside, and Calgary's drive continues.
Couple of almost for J.C. Sherrod. See him jump into the neutral zone trying to time up his blitz. And was inches away from making a big tackle way back on the other side of the field in this drive.
Under 2 minutes left. Stampeders in field goal range just want to use as much of the clock as possible. And Dr. Reynolds has his idea. Even more than that, this another good first down run by Reynolds.
Well, the biggest difference tonight for the Calgary Stampeders has been the balance and the passing game over 300. But look at the rush game. 181 yards rushing. Joffrey Reynolds' best night. John Cornish also contributing.
I mentioned that if you threw out the last game, the average offense for Calgary, the previous 8 against Edmonton, 493, and they're right on that again. This will be the 5th time in 10 games it would appear that they'll be over 500 yards of offense against their Alberta rivals.
And a big run from Henry Burris.
2nd and 1. Drew Teague comes in. He'll push ahead. Should have the 10-yard line, which will be a first down. And Calgary doesn't want to give the ball back. An impressive late drive by the Stampeders, trying to secure first place again in the CFL West.
And a big night for Kenyon Rambo. We talked out of the gate, Chris, about how he had struggled last week, or on Monday, had just one catch, and he had over 100 yards tonight, including that huge 2nd down catch to start this drive. Keep it going.
1st and 10, just outside the 10. It's Joffrey again. Nothing doing that time. Rod Davis waiting for him. And now do the Eskimos stop the clock? Not yet.
No.
So it will run down into the final minute, and this is as good a drive as we've seen all night long. 2nd down, a mix-up, and Burris hits the deck back at the 14, and that will bring Rene Paredes onto the field to put this beyond a touchdown.
They wanted to keep it in the middle of 1. I don't think they're going to be able to do that, although this is just a chip shot. And that was that first run to Joffrey Reynolds to get it out into the middle. The Edmonton Eskimos' greatest hope for a miracle here is to block this.
So Paredes sizing up a 22-yarder that will clinch it. A miss will leave the door just a little ajar. As the Road Warriors try and lock up another one. Paredes doesn't flinch. And the Calgary Stampeders up the lead to 10. Time for our Friday Night Gladiator. It's brought to you by Movado.
Well, honorable mention to Charleston Hughes, honorable mention to Joffrey Reynolds, but the guy was Mr. Everything tonight. And the Gladiator Award is about a guy who contributes in a lot of different ways. And it was John Cornish running, catching the football, covering on the special teams, couple punt cover, 3 tackles I counted on the punt cover, good block, and a key touchdown for Henry Burris. He did it all tonight, so John Cornish, congratulations, you get your new Movado.
Nice to have Movado back, and that makes Glenn Suter the most popular guy at the stadium after a game. Nowacki a catch, and there's John Cornish on the night.
The Series 800 is as good as it gets. And John Cornish well earned. 3 special teams tackles. Saw the runs, saw a couple of catches in the backfield.
Doesn't want to celebrate yet. He knows there's still time on the clock. Eskimos need a touchdown on the short kick. And they've got to play to Marcus Henry. Down to the Calgary 40-yard line with 25.1.
Well, no matter what, we're not taking the watch away from John Cornish.
He just wants to make sure they're not taking the win away.
Yeah, that's right.
Boy, his full value to the Stampeders showcased tonight. Ricky Ray over the middle, and Fred Stamps can't come up with that. This will be the first loss for the Eskimos with Stamps in the lineup this year for a complete game. He was injured in the Winnipeg loss, the first defeat of the season. Second and 10. Plenty of time. Underneath, Rodriguez doesn't get out. Kept in bounds. And a good play there by Eric Fraser.
Henry Burris bounced back from a game he throws under 200 with 316 yards and a key run for a touchdown late in the game.
And
5 carries, 47 yards rushing.
Excuse me, Suits. And the fist pump people will talk about tonight came after the game-winning touchdown.
Calgary Stampeders now 5 straight wins on the road this year.
Third and short. Ricky Ray hit. Ball is loose. Who's on it? Calgary's got it. And time is out. And the Stampeders have won another on the road. Their 5th consecutive game away from McMahon Stadium. John Hufnagel's crew bounces back. Short week, but the Stampeders erase the memory of Labor Day Monday and move back into first place in the CFL West. The final 30-20, Calgary wins. So long from Commonwealth Sports Center with Andre O'Toole is next.